What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content you watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the June 11th, 2022 edition of Talking Smack. No Jackie Redmond this week. She was replaced for this episode by Scott Stanford alongside Matt Camp. Their special guest analyst was JBL, breaking down what I thought was honestly one of the better editions of SmackDown all year. Probably one of, if not the strongest SmackDown so far in 2022. Now, I know that's not saying much because SmackDown has largely sucked so far this year, but you got to give credit where it's due. I sit on this show, on this channel every week, in my audio reviews, in my reviews of Talking Smack, shitting on SmackDown. When they have a good show, I'll tell you it's a good show, and I thought the show on Friday was very good. I did a whole breakdown audio review of the show yesterday here on the channel, so check that out when you get a chance. But to start off this episode, they recap the biggest headlines from the show before getting into Ricochet versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. That culminated in Gunther becoming the new Intercontinental Champion in what I thought was a very good match and the right outcome as well. Backstage, Megan Moran interviews the new Intercontinental Champion Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser. Kaiser says that no one is more worthy of holding that Intercontinental Championship than Gunther himself, and that through this championship reign, they are looking to restore the honor of this great sport, and Gunther calls it, in becoming champion, the greatest prize. It's going to take a while for it to be considered a great prize with the damage that's been done to that championship in recent years, but I get his point. And then back in the studio, JBL says that he's been very impressed with what he's seen from Gunther in the last, I don't know if he's talking about a couple of months on SmackDown or just in general in WWE. Not sure how much attention he pays to NXT and NXT UK, but the bottom line is that he's been impressed with Gunther, and that Gunther has everything that you want in a WWE superstar, from size to look, I guess, to in-ring dominance, great in-ring ability, and all this other stuff. And he teases that he may be holding that championship for a very long time. Matt Camp on that point brings up how Gunther was a long-reigning NXT UK champion, having held that championship for, 847 days, something ridiculous like that. He was champion for well over 2 years, from April of 2019 through August of 2021. That's a very long time. I don't think he's going to be Intercontinental Champion for remotely as long, not even half that time. But it is a solid stat to bring up to not forget about that and to not, undermine how long and how great that championship reign was. JBL says that wrestlers are going to be having a hard time with Gunther, having hard-hitting matches as people like Regal did back in the day and Finlay. Happy to hear him acknowledge William Regal. And that Gunther has a very physically dominating presence about him. And that he'd be a great member of APA, which I would never, ever in a million years want to see Gunther as a member of the APA. But that is a high compliment from JBL nonetheless. When asked about whether he believes Ricochet deserves an automatic rematch, an immediate rematch for that championship, JBL, of course, says yes, he would love to see a rematch, even though Ricochet's done nothing to deserve it, and we don't get automatic rematches anymore in WWE. He says that he wants to see it, and that maybe next time Ricochet will match up better against Gunther than he did on Friday, where he came up short. From there, they recap the men's Money in the Bank qualifier between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus that ended in a double disqualification. Scott Stanford mentions that he would like to see it settled inside a cage, which I feel like we've seen a fucking enough of lately in WWE. We just got a cage match on SmackDown like a month or two ago between McIntyre and Sami Zayn. Enough, please. From there, they also recap the Lacey Evans-Xia Li women's Money in the Bank qualifier that was won by Lacey Evans. Thankfully, that had a decisive finish. Backstage, I think it was Kayla Braxton that interviewed Lacey Evans coming off her victory. Lacey said that she's been wherever they needed her to go. She acknowledges that she's gone from SmackDown to Raw back to SmackDown, which, they could have honestly ignored that and it wouldn't have made a difference because they haven't really said, oh, she's on Raw now. They've shown vignettes for her on Raw, but that doesn't mean she was a member of the Raw roster. But I was surprised she acknowledged that. She's probably as annoyed with it as we all are. Like, just pick a fucking show for me to be on, please. But anyway, she said that she's been everywhere they've needed her to be, and this was the opportunity she needed. She made the most of it, and she won. And as far as the message that she feels she sent with that win on Friday, she's back. Lacey Evans is back, and that she's coming after the championship. A championship she says that she should have held before she left. She brings in her daughter, Summer, who we haven't seen in a while. She talks about her daughter a lot. I think her daughter was on the bump with her a while ago. I don't watch the bump. I just saw the fucking photo of it on Twitter. But her daughter's a lot older, obviously. No shit. Than she was the last time I think I saw her on SmackDown back in late 2019 when she was in the front row with her husband. She's much more well-spoken now. She's very well-spoken. She spoke for herself and kind of interjected herself in Lacey's interview. So I thought that was really cool. She came off great. And yeah, I thought that was a really nice moment for them to share. And Lacey even says that she's really happy that WWE is allowing her to use this platform to send the message that, you can be a mom and you can also do all these other great things and spread that positive message and whatever. So she's saying everything that you would want to hear, that you would expect to hear out of a babyface. If they turn this around and turn her heel, then they're ridiculously dumb. I mean, she is tailor-made right now based off all the vignettes, the backstory, how she's acting in her promos and matches as a clear-cut babyface. And I know, it's way too babyface, which is why they would have to turn her heel. No, she's not even unlikable, I would say. Like, what she is saying is genuinely cool. And to turn around and turn her heel would be fucking dumb at this point. So, like, if you listen to what she said here in this interview, you would think to yourself, why is she talking about all these inspiring things if she's just going to turn around and turn heel? I know it's not up to her, but I just thought that whole thing would be dumb. If they do go in that direction, that would be really stupid. Matt Camp says that compared to the last time we saw Lacey Evans in WWE over a year ago, her motivations are a lot more clear now. And she has a renewed sense of what she wants with her family and stuff like that. 6 spots remain. I don't know if this is breaking news or not, but they showed a graphic of Lacey in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match qualifying. She was the first one, obviously, between anyone on Raw and SmackDown for the women. The men, we still have no spots taken because Sheamus and McIntyre ended in a double DQ. So I thought it might have been a botch or it may not be official. But Camp outright said there are 6 spots remaining in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which I guess the men would be the same thing, but it looks like we're getting 7 spots. Not 6, not 8, but 7 spots in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I don't know how you would determine who gets the 7th spot between on Raw and SmackDown. I would think, all right, 4 for Raw, 4 for SmackDown. 7's a really weird number. At that point, just do 3, or just do 3 each with 6 spots total. They could always change that. They usually do, but that's the latest update, is that there's going to be 7 women and probably 7 men as well in the Money in the Bank ladder matches this year, which is weird when you have 2 brands, but not like they give a shit about that sort of thing anyway, so who cares? Matt Camp teases that, who else could join her, from Raquel Rodriguez to Aaliyah and all these other women on the SmackDown roster. From there, they kind of seamlessly transition into Ronda Rousey and Shotzi and recapping that. That was won by Rousey, as well as recapping Riddle and Sami Zayn in the main event. Backstage, Riddle tells Megan Morant that, he knew this was coming. He knew this was coming as far as going after Roman Reigns, and it doesn't get much sweeter than this. He wants vengeance on Roman Reigns for what he did to Randy Orton a few weeks ago on SmackDown, and he's going to get it next week when he challenges for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. He says he'll get his pound of flesh from Roman, whatever the hell that means, and that after next week, Roman Reigns will never forget him or Orton or RK Bro. JBL says this is a massive opportunity for Riddle. He's betting on Roman, but he calls Riddle a wild card. And Matt Camp says if Riddle wins, it would be one of the biggest wins ever in the history of SmackDown. And he's not winning, but it should be a great match. And then to close out here, JBL compares the upcoming Ronda Rousey-Natalya match for the SmackDown Women's Championship and Money in the Bank to a modern-day version, get this, of Ken Shamrock in lieu of Ronda Rousey versus Bret fucking Hart in lieu of Natalya. To call Ronda versus Natalya a modern-day Shamrock versus Hart is a legitimate crime. I mean, that is just, what a stupid thing to say. I guess I can see the comparison. Natalya is nothing like Bret Hart, and Rousey is nothing like Ken Shamrock. I get the UFC and the Hart comparisons and shit, but holy shit, that is really dumb. I couldn't give 2 shits about Natalya versus Rousey. I like Rousey. Natalya, it bores me to tears. To say that's a modern-day Bret Hart versus Ken Shamrock is one of the stupidest things I have ever heard JBL say on this show. Holy shit. He does say that it's going to be a tall task to take down Ronda Rousey for Natalya, or really anyone that steps up to her. No shit. I couldn't get over how dumb that was. But anyway, this was the June 11th, 2022 edition of Talking Smack. That was about it for this episode. Decent stuff. I like the interviews. I thought Lacey came across great. Riddle was great. And even who else do we hear from? Gunther, the new Intercontinental Champion. So by recent Talking Smack standards, a bit of an eventful episode, hearing from the new IC Champion, the new #1 contender to the top title, and the latest entrant into the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. that being Lacey Evans. So solid stuff this week from Matt Camp, JBL, and Scott Stanford on Talking Smack. Be sure to check out my SmackDown audio review in full from Saturday as well right here on the channel. Thank you guys for checking out the review. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Also hit the bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. Have a great rest of your weekend, folks. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.